Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Jay Chadha. Jay is running for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 3, Barrhaven West. Thank you, Jay, for your time, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate your hard work and dedication to these interviews. I think this gives a lot of good information to potential voters about the candidates, and I just want to say thank you and appreciate your hard work.
Well, it's great to have you here today, and I'm glad that you're able to join me in this municipal election series where we've been getting a bunch of candidates joining us. So thank you, joining me. So thank you. So without further ado, let's get this job interview started. So as with any good job interview, I'm going to start off with an opportunity to learn more about Jay. So the first question, Jay, is can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your story?
Yes, definitely. My name is Jay Chadha. I moved to Canada to Ottawa in 1997 when I was 16 years old. Just like any other immigrant, I moved here with very little funds. I moved here with my younger brother and my parents. In 1997, there was very few resources that were available for new immigrants to come and sort of a guidance for them to start settle in the new city and the new country. So I had to deal with the challenges that any immigrant had to face. I went to school here with J.S. Woodsworth in the old city of Nepean. In 2000, I moved over to Barrhaven, and that's where sort of I started my family. I have two young teenagers. They are leap year twins. I've been living in Ottawa ever since I moved here. It's been very rewarding, and I really appreciate the fact that we were able to move to a city and a country that gave us that opportunities to grow and prosper. So I worked at different jobs within the city. I moved. I did some odd jobs, and then finally I landed a position at OC Transpo in the year 2000, and that's where I stayed at OC Transpo since then. And I'm very grateful to be part of this community, this city, and this country. Because whatever I have acquired or achieved so far in my life is because of this city and this great country.
Well, an amazing story there, a story that many people in Barrhaven are familiar with, whether they have been immigrants or family that has family that are immigrants or friends that are immigrants, and really important to remember that you came here, you have a great life here, and now you want to give back in running for office. So I wanted to continue on with that and talk about that. So I wanted to ask you, why have you decided to run for this position?
Well, I think as we all know, for the past few years, it's not, our city is in crisis mode. We are our city council has been somewhat of a dysfunctional city council in especially the last 4 years. There's been a lot of issues that are happening within the council. And then I really wanted to give back to our community. Our city is in crisis right now. Our debt is increasing day by day. We're about $3 billion in debt right now as a city of 1 million. That's a lot of money to be in debt for a smaller city of size of 1 million. There's two things that you can do when you see things that don't go your way. Either you can sort of sit back and start looking at the issue, or you can take the leadership role and take the bull by the horn. I've decided to run for city council because I think I know I have the experience to do the job, and I know that I can take the leadership role to make this makes a better city or better Barrhaven for us to live in. I have multiple years of experience working at the city. I have 19 years of working at OC Transpo. In addition to that, I have done a lot of community work within Barrhaven. I was sat on a lot of boards within Barrhaven, nonprofits such as Barrhaven East Community Association, Barrhaven Food Cupboard, and currently I sit on the Ontario Trillium Foundation as a grant review board member. I think as with my experience within the city working on transit file, which is one of the hot topic right now, and then in a dire need to get fixed, along with my community work that I've done in the past and I continue to do, it makes me an ideal candidate and for this position. I really want to make a change. I really want to give back to our community, as you said earlier. Um, I say that to everybody. I have a full-time, well-paying job. I'm not doing this because I need a full-time job or hobby. I'm doing this because I genuinely want to help our community grow, and I'm generally concerned about the direction that we're going as a city and as a ward. And I really wanted to give that back to our community.
Well, definitely lots there, and especially you mentioned a lot of the issues that are important to residents of Barrhaven, residents of Ottawa, and residents of our communities, and uh stepping forward and addressing those issues and wanting to run with a plan to change those and fix those is just so important. So we're going to take a bit of time now to talk about the job and what Jay brings to it. So the first question is, why do you think you are the best candidate for this job?
I'm a very result oriented person. I drive. I do all my projects. I strive to bring results and to any of the projects that I work on. I worked as a project manager at the city of Ottawa. I handled multiple projects worth millions and millions of dollars, and I successfully deliver them. I bring that experience to the table. As I said earlier, I sat on a lot of community boards. Um, I was the president of Barrhaven East Community Association, where we founded the new community association in the Barrhaven East side. I also served on the as a volunteer director for Barrhaven Food Cupboard, and currently I sit on the Ontario Trillium Foundation as a grant review board member. I bring that experience along with the experience that I have from OC Transpo, and the community connection that I have. I've received many awards from the government. I received the Government Journals Award for volunteer work. I received the City Builder Award from Mayor from some city of Ottawa, and also United Way's Community Builder Award. So my experience in the past, my track record, and my passion to assist and help our community grow and succeed in all ways that we in all aspects within the city makes me the best candidate. And I generally want to help our community grow. I've done that in the past. I have a track record for it, and also working from a professional perspective. Um, I started working as a bus operator at OC Transpo, and then I moved my way up. I worked in transit maintenance, transit IT, and then eventually I worked in the rail operations where I left the last that I was working on. I have that experience, as an employee. I was working as a frontline employee for OC Transpo. You don't have those leadership role to make those decisions that would help assist make our transit or our city more affordable. I'm trying to I'm running to be a counselor because I think I can make those leadership decisions that would help our city grow and make those get us back on our feet. As I said, we're $3 billion in debt. That's about $3,000 per person, and we're spending $1.7 million a day on OC Transpo. These are some of things that need some leadership, that to make sure that we get back on our feet and get the city and the community that we deserve.
Continuing with that point, I wanted to go on to the next question, which is what experience do you bring to this job? I know you mentioned a few experiences already, but if you were to make note of a few key points of experience, what would they be?
Absolutely. There's sort of professional experience and a community experience that I bring to this job. From a professional experience perspective, as I said earlier, I worked for OC Transpo for the last 19 years. In that position, I worked in a various role, understanding the inner works of OC Transpo. I fully understand how OC Transpo works and how it has an impact on our community as a whole. Working within the city on a different projects that I worked in the transit IT side, where the project management piece, where you have to stay within the budget. You have to make sure that the project itself serves the purpose that it was intended for. So those are some of the things that I bring from a professional perspective. And from a community perspective, as I said earlier, I served on many community boards. I was the president of Barrhaven East Community Association. I was the volunteer director at Barrhaven Food Cupboard, and currently I serve on the board of Ontario Trillium Foundation, where we provide funding and grants for a lot of nonprofit charities that are helping our community grow. So those are the two experiences from professional and community perspective that experiences that I bring, along with my desire to help our community. I think Barrhaven is a city within a city. We have about 100,000 population within Barrhaven, and it's continuing to grow. We need to have that leadership that talks about that, brings that strong voice to the council table, and that understands the issues that are happening every day. And we need to, very soon we're gonna build Barrhaven. We're building Barrhaven Town Center. So there's a lot of development coming, a lot of issues happening in Barrhaven. I think we need that strong voice that can bring those issues to the council table, and be the champion for those changes.
Well, you're so right. Barrhaven really is a city within a city, and that experience you're talking about with OC Transpo is important because we're gonna see within the next 10 years or so in Barrhaven the expansion of the light rail into Barrhaven, expansion of city infrastructure to go along with that, which will be multi-million dollars projects, various projects around our Barrhaven community to expand that. So it's super important there. And I wanted to continue now on to the next segment. So part of serving as an elected official is serving the people who elect you. So here are a few questions about how Jay wants to serve the people. So the first question, Jay, is what is something that the people you would like to serve, the people of Barrhaven, need that you would like to get done if elected?
Well, I think Barrhaven is, as I said, is a big community. There's about 100,000 people living in Barrhaven. Barrhaven itself has different communities have different needs. If you look at the communities over on Half Moon Bay and Stonebridge and Quinn Point, they definitely have a unique requirement right now, unique infrastructure requirement that we need right now. So in Barrhaven East, in Barrhaven, in the Half Moon Bay and Stonebridge community, we need to have the Green Bank Road realigned. That was promised about 10 years ago. Now we're saying it's another decade before we can even start that project off the ground. Everybody knows that that needs to be done. I will work with all level of governments, with the city and with the other councillors and with our elected mayor to make sure that I champion that project, and so that we don't have to wait 10 more years to get that Green Bank realigned. And also work with all the other level of governments to expedite the 416 Barnstable exit. We just had the environmental assessment completed recently, so we need to make sure that gets expedited. There's no way to get out of Barrhaven from the other side. There's from the Half Moon Bay and Stonebridge community. And when you look at the other community on the more mature side of Barrhaven West, there's definitely some infrastructure. There's definitely infrastructure requirement on that side as well. Our infrastructure, not just in Barrhaven, overall city is in dire need of some help. There's potholes, there's road that needs development. We look at the Jockville crossing at the railway crossing. That's a very dangerous spot for that community. We need to have that fixed. The infrastructure itself needs a lot of attention. Barrhaven Town Center is coming. We're reshaping Barrhaven right now. In the next 10 years, you're going to see a brand new Barrhaven. So we need to have that community input to make sure that we put infrastructure at the forefront before we start developing. I know there needs to be a balance between development and infrastructure. You need development to pay for the infrastructure, but we need to have that balance. Where we are the transit file is a big one. We as I said, we spend about $1.7 million a day on OC Transpo. We're sending empty buses downtown with nobody on the buses. There's very little revenue that's coming on, and we cannot continue to bleed $1.7 million a day. It's costing us about $400 an hour to run OC Transpo. It's highest in North America. We are sending all these buses downtown empty, yet we don't have a very reliable service in the suburbs. I can't reliably put my kids on a bus from Barrhaven to go to Walmart in a reliable fashion, because the service it takes 30 minutes to get there. So if we can, pivot our transit, pivot our requirements that we need within our community to serve the community needs, that's what we need. We cannot continue to bleed that much money every day. So those are some of the things at the high level that I think I would champion, and then I think we need that in Barrhaven.
Well, definitely, and lots of points there, especially the roads, the condition of roads, and not just the major roads like Greenbank and Woodruff and Strandherd with potholes, but really, and I've been saying this to every guest pretty much that has been coming on the show from Barrhaven, because it's something I struggle with. I live in an older part of Barrhaven West, and our roads are terrible. They haven't been paved since this community was built 40, 50 years ago, and they're all cracked. There's patches. The sidewalks are overgrowing with grass. It is not a good situation. You can't reliably drive or walk without being scared of damaging your car getting out of your driveway. It's a dire situation, something that needs to be fixed, and that's just one of the many issues that does need fixing. Now,
So
I wanted to continue on to the last question now, which is, what is one accomplishment that you have achieved that demonstrates why you would be a good elected official if the people choose you?
um, a couple of accomplishments. I think there are a couple. If I talk about the community work, one of the accomplishments that I am very proud of is when we had to raise some funds for the Haiti earthquake. There was a dire need to raise some funds for the Haiti earthquake, and then Red Cross was asking for donations. We were able to, as a group, I led that fundraising effort. We were able to raise $10,000 in one night to make sure that we send some those funds for Haiti, for people in Haiti for those earthquake. And from the recent experience, one of the recent accomplishment that I think that really that I'm proud of is the petition that I just started for the police presence in Barrhaven. While door knocking, I met with a couple of residents that had a big concern about police presence in Barrhaven. There's been car break-ins happening almost every second week. Cars being stolen and all that. They had their car stolen, and the response from police was not adequate. So we started a petition to have more police presence in Barrhaven. We received close to 500 signatures in about a week's time. And the recent news, we just saw that there were some action taken by Ottawa Police recently that we were able to increase that police presence right in Barrhaven. So it's not just the break-ins, the speeding, and the and everything else that goes within Barrhaven streets in the nighttime. So we had some police action recently last week that resulted in few charges, and some of those individuals were charged. So I think that one accomplishment that recently that happened in the last couple of weeks shows that as a community we can get together, we can create one strong voice and make sure that things that we need, that attention and whatever action that we need at the community level gets done. So those are a couple of the accomplishments that I'm very proud of.
Well, those are some great accomplishments and a great way to end our interview today. Thank you, Jay, so much for joining me today. It was great having you, and I'm sure the viewers have enjoyed hearing what you have to offer to them. Election Day is October 24th, 2022, and if you liked hearing what Jay had to say, and you live in Ward 3 Barrhaven West, you have the opportunity to vote for him on Election Day. Check with your local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at VC Productions 25. Check out VincenzoCalla.com, my website. Make sure to like, subscribe, and choose to get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCalla production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.